Paleo-Channel uranium, or roll front, or sandstone hosted, there's all different terms for it. It's a slightly different mechanism in the sense that you've got a source rock that may be 10, 15, 20 kilometres away, and what they call oxygenated waters, which is an oxidised fluid, basically rainwater, is percolating through that granitic source that's a long way away, and then it's flowing like a river through a sedimentary sequence until it gets to a point where it's either structurally or geochemically precipitated out. It's like it interacts with the local conditions, and once you say, for example, the oxygenated waters hit a reducing fluid, then the chemistry is such that the uranium will drop out at that point. So it's travelled some distance to get where it needs to be, and then if you get just the right environment, the uranium can drop out in that environment, usually a small part of the paleo-channel. So, for example, a paleo-channel might be like a little snake, right? And it's not like uranium will occur at high grade all along the snake. Generally what happens is at some point along that snake, the chemistry's changed, or there's a fault which is introducing, say, a gas from oil and gas deposits deeper in the basin. And so the hydrogen sulfide is coming up and interacting with the fluid, with the uranium, and then that's just the right chemistry for it to drop out at that point. So you get sort of zones of the paleo-channel which are more amenable to the precipitation of uranium, and that's generally where these mines occur. Okay. Right? Not along the entire paleo-channel, but sometimes on a bend, or sometimes on a fault, or sometimes where you've got large amounts of organic matter, which is producing just the right chemistry.
And do they occur in, I don't know whether cluster is the right word, but do they seem to happen in the same place, like a province or something like that? Yeah,
that's right. So there are a number of reasons for that. So you might find a cluster of in situ recovery mines in a particular area, and usually it's because people are exploring a larger basin area, right? So you've got the basin will have the architecture which allows the uranium to be stripped from uraniferous granites off to the side of the basin, coming into the basin over long periods of time. So a basin is basically a place where, fluids are flowing over millions of years, right, as it's depositing. So you need a lot of geological time to kind of build up the situation. And so typically that's in a basin. So in the case of South Australia, we have what's called the Frome Embayment. There's a large basin area there. And so you've got Beverley 4 Mile to the north and Honeymoon off to the east. These are all sort of part of one big macro system. Now they have different source rocks. So in Honeymoon's case, you've got uraniferous granites to the south, like the Crocker Well Suite. And then to the north with Beverley and 4 Mile, you've got the Mount Painter group, which is sort of off to the east of that area. So different source rocks, same mechanism going into the same basin, and it's always good to have a little bit of oil and gas or something. It may not commercial quality oil and gas necessarily in the basin, but enough so that the chemistry is right. Okay, and so you'll end up, take Kazakhstan for example, right? So there's a whole series of in situ mines which are following essentially the same trend of the margin of the big basin there, right? So the architecture's in place for the precipitation of uranium in particular conditions, and it's found in a particular part of that basin. So we have a similar scenario in South Australia where we think we have all the right preconditions for a cluster to occur in the same basin.